I will be talking about the 4 great inventions of ancient China. While there are many other inventions that the Chinese are credited with, these are the 4 most important. They are the compass, paper, printing press, and gunpowder. China was the compass. The compass is called the luopan, and previous to that there was the zhenan. Zhenan means to point south. The zhenan was invented during the Warring States period, and it was the initial invention that was the first compass-like object. The zhenan consisted of a ladle-shaped magnetic stone placed on a plate, where when the stone stopped rotating, the handle of the ladle would point south. Later, in the 11th century, magnetized needles came into existence and the compass was born. The common method was to rub lodestone onto an iron needle, place this on a piece of wood, and then place that into water. This would allow the needle to spin as necessary to point south and north. The compass assisted ships in navigation, in fortune-telling, and to align homes with the proper directions, also known as feng shui. However, it was only in the 14th century that this invention spread to Europe. The second great invention was paper. Paper is also known as zhi. Before paper, bamboo, tortoiseshell, and bones were all used to write on. Hemp fiber and silk were originally used to make paper, but in 105 AD, Cai Lan invented paper from fishnet, bark, and cloth. These materials were much easier to acquire than previously used materials. This technique was eventually exported to other Asian countries such as Korea in 384 AD and Japan in 610 AD. During a war between the Tang Dynasty and the Arabs gained some papermakers and materials and began a paper factory. Papermaking came to India in approximately the 11th century through Chinese monks looking for Buddhist sutras. The Arabs are the ones who carried papermaking to Africa and Europe. They then spread the invention of paper faster than ever throughout the rest of the world. The third of the 4 great inventions of ancient China was the printing press. This is also called the yin xuaji. The predecessor to the printing press was the carved name seal, or Chinese chalk, used for signing artworks and other things. The first engraved printing press was invented around 600 AD. The Song Dynasty was the first to use the press, but it was time-consuming, inaccurate, and large to handle. During Emperor Renzong's power of time in the Song Dynasty, Bisheng invented a more accessible printing press that used movable and reusable clay typeset. There was now an ability to reuse single types from multiple books, but the enormous amount of characters in the language made this difficult. However, when the press spread to other societies with other languages, the movable type method became one of the most useful methods around. The last of the 4 great inventions of ancient China is gunpowder. It's also called huoyao, or flaming medicine. Gunpowder was invented in about 700 AD. The invention of gunpowder was actually accidental. Alchemists were attempting to create an elixir of immortality with sulfur, saltpeter, and charcoal, but instead created the early forms of gunpowder. Throughout the Tang Dynasty, gunpowder use became frequent in the military. During the Song Dynasty and the Yuan Dynasty, cannons and fire arrows became more popular in warfare, making gunpowder even more useful. In the 12th and 13th centuries, gunpowder spread to the Arabs, Greece, and Europe, and from that, the rest of the world. These 4 great inventions from ancient China are well known and are used nearly every day to this day. Paper and the printing press have progressed to be used by everyone, and gunpowder and the compass are still highly useful for much the same reasons. For these basic inventions and many more, we have the Chinese to thank. Thank you for listening to my presentation on the 4 great inventions of ancient China.